So lately, I've noticed that waiting for motivation has really left me stuck. I really haven't had the energy, to do as much, with all that's been going on. I've been pretty drained about, my recent move from Maryland to Augusta. And I've been spending quite a bit of energy here, really getting to build new relationships and lay new foundations for, a pretty big move. But that's something that if you've been in that place, I can relate. And it's not laziness, but sometimes our brains don't feel safe enough to start. People think I'm always motivated to do things from the outside looking in, but I can tell you that I get stuck quite often and can hit states of analysis paralysis. I'm just taking a quick stroll out here in the Augusta Canal. It is really hot today, so we're taking a nice easy stroll. As you can see, the sun is up. Heat index is about 102. So I got my sunscreen on, and I figure we can at least enjoy a little bit of walk, get outside still. Truth is, I find myself quite often, and I'm actually just getting out of a period of being stuck. I hadn't shot a video for my watch channel in probably 7 months, almost 8 months. And I really didn't notice that until I got a notification from YouTube saying it's okay to take a break and telling me it's okay to be reinvited whenever I decide to jump back in. And it made me realize just how much time had passed, and I hadn't been really motivated to do that. And I still quite enjoy doing that work. I just hadn't prioritized or protected any time to be able to do that. But yesterday I promised myself I was off, and I'm to a place where I'm pretty much got all my stuff down here now, and we're unpacked. And I had been gone, feeling like I've been burning a candle at both ends at work and all my work-like projects, trying to build a brand and a business. And I hadn't really protected time to do two of the things I love to do most, and that's music and talk about watches. And so did a quick music beat that always gets me in the spirit, and it lined up perfectly because I was able to use that music for the watch video I was making. But instead I said I was going to shoot the video, instead of just saying, hey Jimmy, I got to get this video done, I said all I was going to focus on was just getting some really good photos. And I had this particular watch I was reviewing for a couple weeks, and I hadn't even had time to capture as many photos leading up to that. And it was pretty awesome. Like, I was in a creative space and had the space to be able to really enjoy the process yesterday. But I started off just thinking, like, what if I did that for an hour, right? No big goals. Just pulled out my camera. I had all my batteries charged, which was nice. I did that the day before because I wanted to play around with it, but none of my equipment had been charged because I was just unboxing stuff. And so I said, let's do it for an hour and see where I get. So I didn't have any big goals or big expectations. And, as I started getting my lighting equipment set up, and got my macro lens ready, and I started shooting, I was having so much fun, just fall in love with the process, which is what ultimately led to the channel. I never became or was necessarily into video editing. I just really like taking photos. I've always liked to dabble around in photography, and the channel gave me an excuse to, learn how to photograph products. And so now I feel like I'm pretty good at shooting a variety of different things. But watches are fun because there's so many little details that you can catch that our eyes can't see. And for collectors, those little details matter. So I feel like I'm helping them by telling a story. But anyway, as you can see, I really got pretty engrossed in that. And I hadn't picked up anything related to that channel in practically 8 months. It had been quite a bit of time. So the crazy thing is, yesterday, once I got started, I ended up finishing the video. I spent most of my day taking video, doing recording. And, by the time I got time to talk about the watch, I had spent so many hours photographing it, in addition to wearing it for the last 2 to 3 weeks, or last 3 weeks. I was ready to just talk about it from such a strong perspective, a level of subject matter expertise, I would say, and it just flew off the tongue. I had a few bullet points. I didn't have to rehearse my script, and I was able to get the entire video done in probably record-breaking time. And I think it's quite frankly, one of my favorite videos. And so while I haven't done anything on that channel, those 8 months of rest actually helped me quite a bit. Really learned from this process is, what do I actually do when I'm struggling with motivation? And I had to be really thoughtful and think about it, since I was just coming out of this rut, and now I'm so eager that I'm going to shoot a couple watch videos probably today. But for me, I think it's 3 things if I can boil it down. The first thing I would say if I'm stuck and I'm not feeling motivated is give myself permission to start small. And I've thought about other times that I've been stuck in things that I was really, really good at and I stopped, for instance, running. I really miss being able to run 13 miles on the whim at 7.5 minutes. But for me, starting small was just being able to say, hey, I'm going to get a chance to run 3Ks a week, 5Ks a week, and I want to do that as often as I can, but I'm going to commit to it for 3 days. And when that became a little bit more challenging, because I wasn't as in the shape and I saw my time, it was just put my run shoes by the door. And doing that at night led to me sleeping in my shorts. And that's how I stay motivated to get those runs in on the day that I commit to run. And although I'm not back to where I ultimately want to be, hitting start and getting back started at 3K or 5, see, I don't know why I keep saying 3K, I'm thinking 3.5 miles, but getting back at running a 5K is a lot better than not running at all if my goal is to get me ultimately back to where I can run half marathons every weekend and do it at a really, really competitive pace. The second thing I try to do, hey, good afternoon. The second thing I try to do is sometimes give myself permission to lower the bar and celebrate the small wins. I lower the bar and learn to celebrate the small wins, and I give myself permission to do that. With this particular video, it wasn't about getting the video done. It was about just hitting start on it and setting myself up on a path to where I could shoot the video and could get the video done. And sometimes when I give myself permission to do that, it gets me fired up and gives me something to look forward to the next day. The third thing I ask myself is, what will my future self say to myself today? And this is always one of those powerful questions. And I imagine that somebody who had it all worked out, hitting all my future goals and aspirations, I would probably tell myself, hey, you didn't rest enough, and be okay with that. And what it really does is shift the pressure for me to getting something done, because I do apply a lot of pressure on myself, but it puts the pressure on me being focused more on gratitude. So what this has taught me over the years is that I realize momentum is not by all these fireworks and big starts and very glamorous things, but it's done by doing the small things consistently every day. And if you can do the small things consistently and start to build skill over time, like, that's great momentum. And so don't wait for the big bang to happen. Sometimes just hitting start is relatively significant. You don't have to say, I want to run a 5K. Sometimes it lets me just go run a mile, or heck, run a half mile and walk another half, and do that a couple times a week until you build up to it. And you can't grade or judge yourself when you're starting level 1 and somebody's at level 40. And I will tell you, those levels are very dynamic. It's not like you hit it and you stay there. Granted, somebody who's hit level 50 and went down to 25 can probably accelerate through the levels a little bit faster than somebody who's never been there. But I find that typically we go up and down, and that is 100% okay. For me, I thought I had this backwards for the longest time. I thought that the motivation is what gave me the start arc, but it was usually the action. And when I would just practice a song and I would get frustrated, I would probably only do it for 5 or 10 minutes a day. And then that day that I finally got it sparked the motivation for me to learn the rest. And I found that the rest of the song came extremely easy from that point. And so, yeah, I would say that for me, most days, the spark shows up after I start, not before. And a big motivation for me to start this channel was to continue to encourage people to hit start on a thing that they've been postponing because they think they got to hit a home run. You don't write a book at one time. You write great paragraphs or you write individual chapters. And if you do that and you tweak it, kind of connect the dots, there you go. And it can be that simple. So what's one small thing you can do today without waiting for the perfect moment? If you've gotten this far in the video, please drop it in the comments. I would love to hear. And again, if it's something that you can support with, and if you're in this community, go ahead and drop a comment as well. This is about people helping people. And I can tell you, I've learned so much from this process of starting this channel, the people that I've had an opportunity to interview. And as I research these topics on how to become a more effective leader, is definitely helping me become a better leader, because it challenged me to live up to these values and these principles every day, even when it's challenging. And it's being able to talk candidly about my opportunities and what I'm working on, and all the people that reach out or say that they're working on the same thing. And we have shared collective ideas has really been far beyond my wildest expectations. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to get back to doing these videos as well, as it had been almost 4 months before I've done the video here. We're not quite 4, but I think it was over 3. And I want to get back to doing these consistently. So thank you all again. If you needed someone to tell you it was okay to start small, this is it. This is Jimmy. I'll see y'all soon.